The other day, some brand new information about Grand Theft Auto 6 dropped. It's in development, it'll be out sometime in the future, and seemingly Rockstar is making it with less of a focus on killing its staff, which is a good thing. However, that may not really matter because current signs sort of point towards Grand Theft Auto 6 sucking hard. And do you want to know why? Why is it going to be a terrible game? Why it's going to stink? Why it's going to blow chunks? Well, the reason is because
it's gone woke.
Well, no, not actually. But I guarantee that there will be dozens and dozens of channels posting hundreds of videos over the course of the next few years claiming that being woke is what ruined Grand Theft Auto. That adding women into the game as playable characters is the downfall of Western society. You know the channels, right? The ones that constantly complain they're being deplatformed, they're being silenced, all the while posting on every conceivable social media and content distribution platform out there, raking in millions of views and then asking for donations to fight against the liberal elites who are controlling the entire media, which is keeping them from saying what they've been saying constantly for years without anybody bothering them. And they do this, you know, stoking the flames of a manufactured culture war because of the outrage economy, which is highly profitable. And that's also the reason why GTA 6 is gonna suck, so it can be wildly profitable. If you want to see what GTA 6 is gonna look like, look at Grand Theft Auto 5 right now. A while ago, we got single-player story content. We got story content about the single-player characters, but we were forced to play that content in GTA Online. We got to see Franklin in his older years, still up to his old tricks with his friend Lamar, doing stupid things and making callbacks to that first race at the start of the game, all the while there's somebody else playing with you, crashing into you constantly and disconnecting from the game and forcing you to restart and making you wonder, why is this in GTA Online and not in GTA 5? And the reason is quite simple. It's profitable. Grand Theft Auto Online is a broken piece of crap. I think I've established that in some previous videos. It took somebody who was just a fan of the game figuring out that, oh yeah, it loads so slowly and has been doing so for a decade almost because it has to parse a giant XML file or something, and maybe it shouldn't do that. It's filled to the brim with cheaters. You basically get no protection, you get nothing. The online component itself, the one where you play with somebody who isn't just your buddies, it's just a grief city. That's what it's engineered to be. You can pay 500,000 space dollars, whatever the currency is in the game, to nuke a city from orbit with a laser cannon. That's not something you can do, you know, to show the goodness of your heart. That's something you do to piss off everybody else on the server. That's the point of it. It's a troll game. It's made for trolls and to troll the trolls and everybody else who's in there, all the while raking in mad stacks of cash. You're saying to yourself, well, I don't buy shark cards, why would I care? Because the entire design of the game revolves around it. People buy shark cards. Rockstar gave the game away for free, and they're still raking in billions from Grand Theft Auto Online's shark cards. The economy is so terribly thought up for a game, for a Grand Theft Auto game, that it funnels people into paying real-world money just so they can circumvent the economy so they could actually do something enjoyable in it. That is going to be the future of the franchise. Rockstar is part of Take-Two, which is a big corporation, and as a corporation with shareholders, it is obligated to constantly increase value for those shareholders. So they're gonna take the path of least resistance and most profit. And that path leads to GTA 6 sucking. It's still going to be bonkers popular. It's still gonna sell like 100 million copies in 3 years or something because it's GTA. but it's going to be geared towards shark cards or their equivalent to be. Now, Rockstar tried the same thing with Red Dead Online, and it didn't work because nobody plays Red Dead Redemption for the multiplayer, for the faffing around about the world. They seemingly mostly play it for the HBO miniseries that will be spun off from it at some point. But Grand Theft Auto was born from this, was born from the faffing about the world and just blowing things up and having fun. The story, the characters, that came after and left. The game itself, Grand Theft Auto 5, doesn't really have that much of a plot. I dare you to tell me what happens in it. I mean, what's the overarching narrative? There's subplots that show up and go away and show up and go away and then are never mentioned again, but it's mostly a succession of seemingly random crap that happens, sort of like it's an episode of a sitcom. It's Seinfeld, basically. You have these characters that are really well defined, that are funny, that are enjoyable to watch, and there is no story. They just do stuff. You think at some point there's going to be some reckoning, No, there isn't. And that's what GTA 6 is going to give us. It's going to give us some superbly interesting characters, some enjoyable characters, some funny characters, some wild characters, some crazy characters, and a story that's going to be episodic, I guess is how you could put it. Them getting into different hijinks and doing stuff, probably in co-op mode or something similar, all in a succession of events that can be changed around, inverted, and slotted into depending on the development stage of each and every mission that gets released in the live service hellscape that will be GTA 6. You can probably expect missions to be even worse than what GTA 5 had, with even less of an emphasis on you doing stuff and even more of an emphasis on you tagging along and then repeating the mission again to get more rewards so you can buy some sneakers or, spending real world money on it. It will basically be a terrible game. They have to make a terrible game because a terrible game, Grand Theft Auto Online, made all the money in the world. And now they have to do that again and then some. I know there's people out there who still like single player games, would still love to have a single player campaign, would still like the joy of exploring a city on their own and not being shot in the face by XXS Sephiroth Dark Sniper XXX for 2069.X from the other side of town with a sniper rifle that seemingly can shoot through walls. But you probably won't get that choice. You fundamentally don't own your game. You own a license to it that can be removed at any point in time. Until maybe somebody, I don't know, sues the company into oblivion over closed servers. Though, gotta say, Take-Two did put Evolve back on the menu. I appreciate it. It works again, until it won't again. That's an issue that could be easily solved by just releasing software which lets players host their own servers, but that will never happen because in the grand context of things, giving that kind of control back to the players like we used to have up until about 15 years ago, I guess, would mean cutting into their finances because they won't be able to sell stuff on those servers. They won't be able to restrict supply. They won't be able to nickel and dime you and then take away everything that you've spent money on so you can buy it again in the next version. That is why GTA 6 is gonna suck. That is why financially, to be a success, it has to suck. And you're gonna say to yourself, probably, but if it sucks, people won't play it. If it sucks, people won't buy it. And to that I respond, how many millions of dollars did Diablo Immortal make in a couple of days? It doesn't really matter if it's gonna suck, if it's part of a big franchise and it's marketed heavily, and I mean heavily, it won't matter. It's like with Coca-Cola. You know it's bad for your health, you know they've killed people in South America to keep things running and the cash flowing, but are you gonna not drink it? Or Nestle. You know it's sucking the world dry of water and then selling it back to you, but is anybody gonna stop them? No. We live in cyberpunk, we live in Shadowrun, the corporations run everything. The corporations own your culture, they shape it, they even determine your personality. All in the name of the almighty dollar. which is coincidentally why I made this thumbnail. The video actually started from an idea of making a thumbnail like that and seeing how things go, and then the news about GTA 6 came along and I was like, well, this is fortuitous. Anywho, sorry for no videos lately. The trip to Ireland sort of derailed my plans a bit, and then I got busy with work, and I'm gonna try and make a few videos this month and maybe get back into a schedule in September, hopefully. For the later part of this year, I'm gonna try to focus mostly on the history show. I've got a bunch of games that I've been meaning to cover for some time. You may have seen them on my Twitter feed at one point. I sort of moved them down a bit to later this month. I've been trying to get them to run properly. One of them seems to only want to run in Windows XP, which is fine I guess, but it kind of runs at 5,000 frames a second. I'll have to sort things out somehow. Take care everybody, and remember to say no to the RM. Bye bye.